All right, episode four.
Sure.
Episode four. Roast and Toast Baseball Radio. Just me and Demetrius tonight.
Just me and you,
Um,
Will.
so we're gonna get going. First topic of the day: Blake Snell to the Giants.
Snellzilla.
Pretty big. I mean, it's massive.
It was the contract everyone's been waiting for. When, where, how much? Blake Snell will sign. We got our answer. Did he get the number he wanted?
No,
No,
we did
not
not.
even close.
No, not even close.
He 2 years, $62 million, opt-outs after the first, which is not shocking at all either. Means next year, this exact moment, we will probably be in the same position of where will Blake Snell sign this bigger extension. But yeah, I know he wanted a high AAV. He got 30 plus ish a year for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of money. Like I'm
It's a
not
lot of money.
not gonna lie, it's a ton of money.
It's a ton of money for the Cy Young winner from 2023. So I get it. I get that he wanted more, but at least he got that number.
Yeah, I mean, at least he got that number for this year, and if he stinks for next year too. But if he stinks, then no one's ever going to pay him that
No,
guaranteed money.
if he has the year he had, not in 2023, obviously 2022, where he wasn't the same numbers he had last year, he will just opt in, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. We talked about this previously, but yeah, the Yankees offered him $150 million for 6 years, which is 25 million AAV. He counter offered with 270 for 9 years. 9 years is just crazy for a pitcher who's 29, which is also 35 million AAV. He was never getting that.
I thought he was older than 29. I
I believe
think
he's
he's
around there.
31.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's 31. I thought he was 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Okay, wow. Yeah, he's never getting 9 years.
No, he's never going to get that, and the market obviously wasn't going to allow him to get that. I don't know. I mean, we were singing Scott Boris's praises last week, but he's kind of struck out on all his players this offseason.
Yeah.
Uh,
He didn't get
obviously,
a, I don't think he got a big deal for any, like a long-term deal for any of them.
no, and obviously the players that he had aren't. It's not Juan Soto, right? Like
No,
Cody Bellinger and Juan Soto, um, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery aren't Garrett Cole. They're not these
no.
guys that are just workhorses, and you know exactly what you're going to get when they're healthy.
Hmm.
They're inconsistent players, and I think the market, the teams didn't weren't willing. Obviously, they weren't willing to do the long term deal with these
Yeah,
players. And
it's exactly. They
yeah,
weren't willing to do that.
right. The teams that maybe would be willing to do that, take that risk, weren't open to spending their money this offseason, like the ones in the past.
It did seem like this year teams weren't really looking to fetch big numbers for these pitchers, really. I mean, the biggest numbers you got, it weren't anywhere near what these guys were given for a pitching contract, besides what the Phillies gave Zach Wheeler and Nola. I feel like those are the two biggest pitching contracts we saw.
Right. And that's another thing. Those guys, I mean, Wheeler was an extension. Nola
Hmm.
actually negotiated early.
Yeah.
All the money seemed to fly off the board early, with
Hmm.
similar to how football and basketball work with their free agency because there's a salary cap, right? It's like
Football especially. Oh my gosh.
football
Football
especially,
free.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like the first, like right when it starts, there's a signing 5 seconds after.
I think this year for football, obviously we're a baseball podcast. I think football free agency this year, how quick it was, how much money was dealt out, was one of the quickest and most expensive I've seen ever.
Right. They call it a tampering period, right?
Hmm.
Right. So we're never going to have that in baseball. There's no salary cap, although that's what my point was. Like the CBT, the competitive balance tax, that's acting as a soft cap for a lot of
Hmm.
teams. And I think a lot of them were like, okay, here's our budget for the offseason. We're going to get our signings as early as possible, get the guys that we targeted or that we want that we want to target. And then once that was done, they're like, that's all the money we have to spend.
Yeah.
And the Boris strategy has been, let's wait out the market. Let's hope a team gets desperate. And that didn't happen.
No one got desperate this late in the year.
Yeah. And
And
Montgomery's still not signed.
like we meant we mentioned it that were they going to get signed before opening day? Technically, Snell just beat it out for the Soul Series opening day, but for every team's opening day, I don't even think Montgomery's going to get signed at this point by next Thursday.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. I mean, I was reading something about Boris and some of the guys that he's had signed later. And I don't know if you remember, but when Dallas Keuchel was a free agent, no one signed him.
Yeah,
He didn't sign till like mid-season with the Braves.
I forgot about that. He was, I remember him like in the background of like a ESPN Sunday Night Baseball game, like behind home plate, just sitting there, just
Hmm.
waiting to be signed from teams, just still trying to throw. But he was projected to get a lot of money then. Turns out he was kind of washed, but
Yeah,
he
he was washed.
he was
That was
washed.
the thing. They didn't like his peripherals.
No.
That made sense, but it's crazy. But Blake Snell has some of the best stuff in the sport. Jordan
Mhm.
Montgomery seems to be getting better.
I was
So
gonna say he's trending up right now, Jordan Montgomery.
right, right. We'll see. We'll see what happens with him. But what do you think about this for the Giants?
It's big. I know in episode one we talked about how their rotation needed some guy at top besides Logan Webb. I think this is a great piece in a very, very, very competitive NL West. I think they want to beat the Dodgers like every year. They were 100 plus wins back in 2020, was it 2021? Yeah. They were one of the top teams back there where they couldn't even get past the wild card game series, but they want to continue to spend money, and they did spend money. They want guys who can pitch and be capital players for them, and I think it's great for the Giants.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was a great move for them. Clearly, they read the market very well. They were able to get Chapman and Snell for, I don't know. I thought one of their contracts would get to that, but
Yeah,
good for them. I mean, it's a little weird because they're probably not going to be there next year, but
no,
for this year, they put out they're going to have a nice squad, and I definitely can see them getting a wild card spot. And I mean, their rotation is solid. Logan Webb, Snell. Um, I know they put in Jordan Hicks there. They have Kyle Harrison. Um, and then
they got
it's
Robbie Ray too, who's going to start the year
right,
off
right
IL, but
midseason they'll get like Robbie Ray and Alex Cobb back. So
yeah,
Giants are looking okay. Uh, I'm honestly kind of worried as a Mets fan.
we need any as a Mets fans, we us here, we need any strength we can get for wild card spots, and
Right.
especially because we're not passing the Braves, in all honesty. And every Mets fan you ask will say the same thing.
I don't think we're getting to the Phillies either.
Probably not.
Yeah. Um, but speaking about that, in that same division, the
Hmm.
Padres also got better this week.
Hmm.
They made a trade for Dylan Cease. So what are your thoughts on that trade?
They gave some big prospects up for them. They gave Drew Thorpe, who has now had three different homes in the span of a few months. He was from the Yankees farm system, just popped off as a right-handed pitcher, and is currently the 85th prospect. Now they're fifth. Now White Sox fifth, but they gave their seventh prospect up as well, Sammy Zavala and Irinate for their eighth prospect. So
He throws
I
gas, by the way.
yeah,
He's only like 18, but
I mean they wanted to get better after they had question marks in their rotation.
hmm
So I think the move for Cease was impending. Everyone thought last year the trade deadline the White Sox were gonna get rid of him, but they waited off and got some big young guys. We'll see how Cease bounces back.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the ballpark plays better for him.
Hmm.
San Diego Petco Park is not a nice place to hit,
No.
so I think that's definitely going to benefit him. I don't know how to feel about the Padres as a whole. Like, obviously, this makes them better in the short term, but they don't have a ton of depth,
No.
and they're top heavy. And honestly, I don't know how much Hugh Darvish has left in the tank, to be completely honest.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age too. He's thrown a lot of innings in his career. I know that.
Right. And how good is Joe Musgrove really? Is he a two or a three? He's not an ace.
He's not an ace. He's never been an ace, and he's not an ace right now. Yeah, Hugh Darvish is 37.
He didn't have a good year last year, but he
No.
does that from time to time, and he'll bounce back because
Hmm.
he's so talented. I just don't. You never know when it could go.
This is his 12th year in the MLB right now. Yeah, I mean, what more does he have as their perennial one? They are top heavy, like you said. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from this.
Right. I think it's a lot depends on what you get out of Michael King.
Hmm.
Is he
Who?
the real deal? Can he be a three? A three? If you get him to be a three or a four, like a legit three in a rotation with those three guys already, then yeah, you have a real good shot. But I also don't know what to expect from their bullpen.
I was going to say, I watched the last few innings of today's um State of the Soul series. Their bullpen just did not look good
Mm,
at all. And yeah, the thing about Michael King is he's never had many starts in his career. He only has 19 career starts in 115 games.
that's crazy.
So they're going to push a lot of workload. He only had 9 starts last year with the Yankees, had none last year in 2022. And yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know how they're going to push from here because Michael King last year with the Yankees, he started 9 games and he finished 10 games. So he closed out at least 10 games for the Yankees last year.
Mm,
So they're going to push him for a starting position, but I know, I don't know how they're going to go because Adrian Morejon is not a starter they thought he was going to be. Now he's in their bullpen.
right. I mean, I
So
think they got some other depth from the Yankees too, like Breida
yeah,
and who's I forgot who else they got in that trade, but they do have like back at the end of the rotation depth. I'm more
mhm.
worried about their lineup. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know how
I,
to feel about it.
I saw people roasting on Twitter today because they saw the lineup and they say they have who starting at third base? It's a Tyler Wade yesterday.
Why?
So because they had Manny at DH, but at like
But why?
I have no idea. I they brought up Jackson Merrill, which is a great prospect for them, and he started today.
Right.
And then another guy made his debut. I don't get the exact name of it right now off the top of my head, but their lineup is very interesting. It's
Yeah.
not really a top lineup that, like we just said, very competitive NL West, pushed for that division.
Right. I don't know. I think it goes Dodgers. I honestly think the Diamondbacks are better than the Giants and Padres
Yeah,
still. And yeah, then I go Giants, Padres, but I means nothing honestly. Those teams could all flip flop. Besides I had the Dodgers obviously in one.
yeah.
And the other three teams could be anywhere from second to four,
They really can be second and fourth. That division is so stacked. You think about it.
and they're all gonna crap on the Rockies all year.
I saw, yeah, no, it was they were talking about the odds for ESPN. It was like NL West odds, and it was like plus 10,000 for the Rockies to win the NL West. And like Eduardo Perez was like, they're how much odds? It's
That,
just to win the NL West. And they were like, yeah, they're just gonna pretty much season sweep the series, all of them.
yeah, that's crazy. Um, all right, so we have a couple more things to get to
Hmm.
before we talk about our award predictions. Um, so a couple of outfield signings: Michael A. Taylor to the Pirates and Adam Duvall to the Braves. So, what are your thoughts on those two guys signing those deals? They're for small amounts of money.
Yeah, very tiny amounts of money for both of them.
Mhm.
Michael A. Taylor will start off. He got 1 year, $4 million. Solid outfield piece. Um, Solid piece to the Pirates. I think it's a good move for them. Michael A. Taylor is just he had a pretty good year last year. He had 21 home runs. His average wasn't amazing, but he still can hit. He still can play outfield for them. He's defensively is pretty good too.
Yeah, he's won a Gold Glove. He's a
Yeah.
very good outfielder. It's interesting that he got that deal. Like I said again, the guys who seem to have waited didn't get the money that they should have gotten. Meanwhile, Harrison Bader is getting $10.5 million this year, and is he really that much better than Michael A. Taylor? Probably not.
I can't believe the Yankees traded Harrison Bader for Jared Montgomery. That's something that I'll never understand. But yeah, I don't think he's that much better compared to those pieces.
That's a $6.5 million difference.
That's a big number. And Harrison Bader in the past few years has just not lived up to the Harrison Bader he did in 2019.
Right. So, I mean, we're hoping that he's gonna have some kind of crazy year for the Mets, but he's hurt a lot, so we'll see. But I mean, great for the Pirates. It's a great move for them. They're getting a guy who can obviously contribute to their team in a very meaningful way
Yeah.
and for not that much money. So good for them.
I think it's good piece they're doing because Jack Sawinski's just he mashes righties, but you can have Michael Taylor in against the lefties too.
Hmm.
Jump off that, and I think that's a great piece for them.
I'm
Yeah,
with.
jumping back to Bader, he hasn't played over 100 games in a few years. Barely clipped the number in 2021.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He hurt a lot this year. But what about Duvall to the Braves? Back to the Braves. Was this his third stint there?
Yes, his third stint with the Braves. He got he got a 1 year, $3 million deal with the Braves. Last year with the Red Sox, he got a 1 year, $7 million deal with them.
Hmm.
But he had a better year than previously last year than he did the previous few years, which is still crazy. I know he only played 92 games last year, but
He's
he had
really
21 he had 21 home runs in 92 games, 58 RBIs, 834 OPS. He played. He really did have an impact to that team.
yeah, he did. And it's a shame he got hurt on some
Mhm.
freak play in the beginning of the season with his wrist. Like
Yeah, that was he was having a stellar first 2 months, and then he
he
dove in
was
the
like an
outfield.
MVP candidate, dude.
Yeah, he was. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I forgot about that. He was mashing, and then he dove in center field and snapped his wrist.
Right. So I clearly this is a great move for the Braves. I hate him, but I guess you platoon him and Jared Kelenic.
Yeah,
Kelenic's been horrible.
Par- but like we said before too, the Braves have a masterful way of getting these guys and keeping guys to play well. I mean, you look at Marcell Ozuna and how amazing he's played last year and the year before.
I know it's frustrating, but good for them.
Braves never lose, as Frank Tank always says. Yeah, no, yeah, it was his highest OPS last year. Adam Duvall had in since 2019, but I do think it was just he was playing amazing until he got hurt. And if he can just put those numbers up again for the Braves, Braves are winning over 100 games and going to win the East by 15 games.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. They have great depth, so good for them. Um, Alex Anthopoulos keeps making great moves. Um, so the next topic we have here is the Devin Williams injury. Sounds pretty serious.
Yeah,
Uh, how much does this affect the Brewers' chances at a wild card spot?
I think it has a pretty big impact. Two stress fractures in your back. They said at least 6 weeks not on the field. I can even see it being longer than that. It's not going to be good. I think this is a big blow for them, especially it was the injury he said it happened. They didn't like to say he was officially on the IL for until recently, but
Hmm.
he had the injury like right when he got to spring training.
Hmm.
So that's not what you want to see when you start building your workload up. And just no, it's not good at all.
Yeah, it sounds very scary to be honest. I'm pretty sure a stress fracture is um, something that's about to break. Um,
Yeah,
gonna look.
you look at the depth chart right now, and I can't see anyone in their bullpen who will have any numbers that seem to be anything close to Devin Williams this past few years.
Well, yeah, he's been a top three reliever, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so a stress fracture is a tiny crack in a bone caused by repeated stress or force from often from overuse, right?
Hmm.
So if he keeps going at that pace that he's been pitching at, it's scary. So he's definitely going to be out for the 3 months rather than the 2.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't risk having him get hurt,
You can't push that back. You can't push forward on that. You can't rush it back.
as well as for his career too. He can't jeopardize this part of his career.
He has
So,
disgusting numbers. That's even crazier. He had a 1.53 ERA last year.
hmm he's really, really good. So, yeah, I think this does a lot of bad for their playoff chances. And I don't know. We'll see what we get from the Brewers, but a weakened bullpen and a weakened starting pitching staff
Yeah.
clearly
Once
doesn't.
they traded away Corbin Burns and you look at the rest of the rotation with Woodruff still out, you're
Right.
like, yeah, this might not be good.
You need Freddie Peralta to just turn into like prime Jacob DeGrom.
I've loved that guy, honestly. He
It's
didn't have
very
he didn't have a top year last year that he had in previous years. But yeah, in 2021 he had a 2.81 ERA. He was an all-star, I believe. And
mhm,
the last 2 years he couldn't get a almost close to a 4 ERA in both years.
mm, mm. All right, so that's pretty much our updates for what's going on right now. Um, so let's jump to our award predictions. So where do you
Mhm.
want to start with that?
Start with the Cy Youngs.
Cy Young, okay,
Yeah.
go. Let's do NL first.
NL Cy Young. I think sneaky candidate, Zach Wheeler. I think he can build off how he pitched in the postseason last year and just push off that margin and just keep chucking.
Yeah, I like that pick. I honestly was gonna say the same guy. I like Zach Wheeler. I think he may have deserved it over Corbin Burns the year that Corbin won it.
hmm
I definitely think he can win it, and I think he should have won already. So I think that's a great pick, but I'm not going to choose your same guy. Um, I think I'm going to go with. hmm, I think Max Fried.
Max Fried stays healthy, he can do it. That's my margin. I think his stuff when he's fully at the rotation, especially you don't see a lot of guys throwing at lefty, what he can do.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's in a contract year. I think he's going to push
Mhm.
himself a lot to get a big contract in the off season. And yeah, he's got great stuff. He's got a great demeanor. He's not stressed or phased by much.
No,
He shoved in the World Series when the Braves won. So I think he might win it.
I could see it.
Mm-hmm. All right, what about AL Cy Young?
AL's tricky. With the Garrett Cole news out, it's much trickier than the main idea is. I know a lot of people have some dark horses. I'll get into one of those after my pick, but I still think Corbin Burns is going to shove and get the Cy Young there. Switching divisions, seeing guys who haven't faced him as much, I think he can just be a rotation guy, feed off the fact that he's going to get run support this year,
Mm-hmm.
feed off the fact that he has guys in lineup who are going to mash and just put his numbers up. I think he can win it again.
I want to hear your dark horse pick.
Screwball.
Okay.
People are loving how he's looking in spring. People are loving the fact that he's consistently hitting over 100 from the left side. People are loving that. I
When
know
can
the
he stay
Tigers and
healthy?
that, yeah, it's the one thing you have to think about too. It's like these winners for awards like this, they might have to be in divisions who aren't as stacked. If they can put in numbers in an AL Central where who in the hell is going to win that? I
Right.
think if you have a top guy who can just mash guys you're seeing, or just plow through guys you're seeing consistently, I think he could have a shot at it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's just for me with Scooble's, can he stay healthy?
hmm
He's never put
No.
together a full healthy season, but I mean his stuff is incredible. So who am I to say he can't win it? He definitely can. Um, I'm gonna give you. two dark horses for me
Ooh.
because I don't really know what the AL
Yeah.
will throw up this year. I really don't. So I'm gonna go with Christian Javier.
Ooh.
2 years ago, had a really good season and didn't pitch well last year, but he's
Hmm.
down 20 pounds.
Ooh.
Everyone says he looks amazing, and he's got electric stuff. And 2 years ago, he had a 2.54 ERA, and I'm pretty sure he got Cy Young votes. He should have got
Yeah.
Cy Young votes if he didn't. And yeah, I think he's gonna have a great season and just kind of burst out of the scene.
I
And
think that rotation too, he can have promise for that rotation because I know that I believe there's some injury issues right there with Lance McCullers still being out. I
yeah,
think with him being one of the top few guys for the Astros, I think he can be someone who gets a lot of innings again and
mhm,
just yeah, back in 2022, yeah, 2.54 ERA. I think he can do it again. I really do.
agree with you. And then my other pick is Cole Reagans.
That guy is a beast.
They call him Lefty DeGrom. So I'm all in on the Cole Reagans train. When he went to Kansas City in the Aroldis Chapman trade, he pitched 12 games for them. Started in 12. Went 5-2 with a 2.64 ERA in 71 and two thirds innings, and he struck out 89.
His strikeout rates were disgusting last year. I just remember I watched a few of his starts back in August and September. And I was like, this guy is just running these guys down.
Right, his strikeout per nine was 11.2.
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting. So he's my dark horse. Um, I like that guy a lot. It's
I
only
do too.
26.
I can't believe the Rangers give, I mean, winning World Series, Chapman, who did have an impact down the stretch for them, but they
Massive
did,
impact.
yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
you gotta make that trade every time.
Yeah, you do. It's this other side of it. You do have to make a trade. And it's funny because it's true in other teams. It's teams who go all in for a season. I'm not saying the Rangers did that, but teams like you can attest to it with like the Rams in was it 2020, 2021. They
Right.
went all in and traded a bunch of the draft picks, traded a bunch of their tops like young guys for guys who will produce and did. So I see that as a similar situation last year with them. But yeah, I think he is disgusting. And it was a great spot for him in a league, like we mentioned before, the AL Central, that he can shove in.
I agree. I definitely agree. So I expect big things from him, even if he doesn't win the Cy Young, of course.
Mhm.
Probably an all-star appearance if he stays healthy. So we need to move through these last
Oh, we do.
awards. We have about 9.5 minutes left. So let's do our MVP pick for each
Yeah,
thing.
I'll go Julio. I think Julio.
J-Rod.
I think Julio can get his average up and just continue to mash baseballs. I think Julio can do it. He
Yeah.
has had his time in the MLB now. He's not the exact perennial first, second year in the league now. It's his third, I believe. I think he has the ability to just produce.
Yeah. I think he needs to get off to a hot start.
Hmm.
Because in the second half he's been able to heat up and go off, especially last year.
If he had that stretch of, was it a ridiculous hitting streak, a ridiculous straight games, it was like,
Yeah.
what about yours?
I'm gonna go with Rafael Devers.
Rafi.
Yeah. Um, I know it might hurt him to be playing for a team that's probably gonna be pretty bad, but I just think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he has something to prove this year. I just think he's gonna put up some ridiculous numbers that you can't help but give him the MVP.
He's, like you said, playing with a chip on your shoulder. He's pissed off the organization. He's pissed off where they're at. And I think he's like, all right, well, I'll just do what I can do.
Right. That's what I think. That's what I think.
That ballpark, I still think is good for him. I still think he can swing it down that pole and just those balls in the corner. And he's still so young. He,
He's so young. Is he even 27 yet?
no, I think he's 26 right now.
It's crazy. He's already put a great career together. He doesn't really get the attention that Soto gets, but I mean, he doesn't walk like Soto. That's the thing.
No,
But they're about the same age,
yeah, yeah. Soto's a year younger, but yeah, it's pretty much.
and they both have a World Series already, which is crazy.
Yeah, Soto doing that at his age, when he was 20 or 21 when he was in there, and he was just, yeah, no, yeah, well, Devers is also very young too. They
If
have that
Devers walked like Soto, the conversation would be very similar.
right now in odds projection. It's yeah, Soto's the favorite right now, but we'll see how Soto hits in that ballpark because if I know they were telling Soto to keep your swing the same way and don't change it from Yankee Stadium,
Hmm.
but if he's able to pull the ball at Yankee Stadium, he's gonna just absolutely hit 40 home runs and
Well,
just
yeah. The thing is, Soto could hit his a pop up that he like. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But he literally hit pop ups to right field and they'll go out. But I would love to see him continue the same
yeah,
approach he's had his whole career. That's what makes him such a great hitter, and his eye, of course. But he doesn't need to pull the ball like that to
no,
make him
he
good.
doesn't need to.
Yeah. Um. So what about NL MVP?
I don't know if I should go guy who does it every year, keep doing it, or just someone who has chip on his shoulder.
Mm,
I think I think obviously Shohei not pitching is going to change some stuff, but if Shohei can still hit the way he does, Shohei's going to win it. Shohei's going to do it. But I still think if Fernando Tatis gets a hold of a year where he's coming not off injury, not off suspension, lingering issues, having a year where he's going to be staying in right field for the entire year and understanding it, I think Tatis can do it.
okay. Okay. I could see it. Um. I'm gonna be a bit of a homer here. I'm gonna say Lindor.
I would love that.
My picks are kind
Uh,
of wild, but Lindor was played all last year with this like a broken or bone spurs in his elbow.
yeah.
Something was messed up. He couldn't swing right, and he still hit 30 home runs, stole 30 bases, played excellent Gold Glove defense. Should have won the
Hmm.
Gold Glove.
Yeah, that was a robbery.
Um, he's been disrespected the past couple seasons, and if he has a year where he puts everything together, there's no reason not to give him an MVP unless someone else goes very, very off.
I
So
could see it. I could
we'll
really see
see.
it.
Um, what about rookie of the year picks?
Hmm. I think it all depends when certain guys get in the league. I think if someone, sorry, Jackson Holiday starts the year off or right, pretty much right away, I think Jackson Holiday can be the rookie of the year. I think if he has the time to have an impact and hit, I don't know, hit another home run yet to that yesterday. If he can hit like 30 home runs this year, he's winning it rookie of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you. But they also have other
I
rookies
know. I
that can make
know.
an impact just like him, or even more of an impact. This is crazy.
I was looking at it, was yeah, Kowser is just ridiculous. Heston Kjerstad, he can also do it. Like,
See that? That's why I'm going to be easy. I'm going to say it's going to just be one of those guys from the World.
let's
That's my pick. That's my pick. What about the NL?
see. Like, I'm not going to go Yamamoto. Well, and I just talked about it before. Yamamoto right now is the favorite by a landslide for rookie of the year. I don't know. I think it could be another dark horse guy. I think if the Nationals bring Dylan Cruz up early, I think he can have an impact right there and win the rookie of the year. If he comes up, either gets a few weeks in double A and triple A,
Mm,
I think, and he just continues to mash, I think Dylan Cruz can win and a rookie of the year.
okay. I can see it, but I don't think Cruz is going to be called up early enough
Yeah,
to get the Rookie of the Year award. So I think I'm going to go with Jackson Churio.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, everything I hear about him is incredible. He's very athletic. He's very balanced at the plate. I hear like he doesn't ever take a swing that's off balance. So it's not like he's a Javi Baez Jr. up there. Um, so that's something that's very repeatable. He's not going to ever. I mean, you're going to go through hot and cold streaks, but he's not going to be someone who's in a prolonged slump. Uh,
Hmm.
they already gave him 9 year, $82 million contract. That to me seems like okay. We trust this guy that he's
Hmm.
going to be good no matter what.
And guys like that want to prove like they're worth that contract.
Right. I think he's going to win it. And I know I'm pretty sure he's the opening day center fielder against the Mets. So we're going to get to see him pretty soon. And if he doesn't win, then I think Paul Skeens is going to win it. So
Paul
honestly,
Skeens, that would be sick, honestly. If Paul Skeens can have this impact for the Pirates right off the bat, whenever he comes up and just, I know they already announced he's going to play in the minors, but start the year, but which is no surprise to anyone. But I would love that.
yeah. Yeah, I would too. All right, real quick.
Hmm.
So we have this one topic. So Scherzer and Verlander are starting the season on the injured list. In the minute that you have left,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on those trades that the Mets pulled off to get rid of those pitchers last year?
Fantastic. Perfect. Great. Exactly what Epler needed to do on his way out. Epler knew his job was done. And I think he's like, screw it. I'm just going to get these guys out and just try to have this organization be good for the future. I don't think he was someone who's going to let this organization die. I think he was like, all right, let's see what we can get. And these prospects he got back, Drew Gilbert, Louis Angel, perfect. Great.
Yeah, yeah, those two, and then you also throw in Ryan Clifford.
Yeah.
So I mean, we basically bought the prospects, but Scherzer and Verlander, obviously, they had
It's
great.
sad to see. It really is.
Yeah, I hope they can come back this year and be productive, but it made sense to do what they did, and I'm happy
Mhm.
about it. So, thanks for listening to our episode today, and we'll be back next week.
Oh, yeah. Right before opening day.
Oh yeah, man.